John Dewey, father of the modern public education system, he said, there is no God and there is no soul. Hence, there are no needs for the props of traditional religion. With dogma and creed excluded, immutable, unchangeable truth is also dead and buried. There's no such thing as absolute truth. And there is no room, he said, for fixed natural laws or moral absolutes. Bertrand Russell, a well thought of, highly extolled philosopher, educator, and atheist in the major colleges in this country. He wrote this book in the 50s, The Impact of Science on Society. He says, now listen to this. He says, I think the subject which will be of most importance politically is mass psychology. Its importance has been enormously increased by the growth of modern methods of propaganda. Although the science will be diligently studied, it'll be rigidly confined to the governing class, the elite. So we'll just teach them to the brightest minds in the universities so that they know how to go about this. We'll get it into the media. And the populace then, the normal people, will not even be allowed to know how its convictions were generated. Do you understand that? It's what the devil does. He masquerades as an angel of light, and so he presents his ideas. They sound great, right? But when it all comes down, it's meant to devour us. He continued to write in this book, he said, where all children go to school and all schools are controlled by the government, the authorities can close the minds of the young to everything contrary to what they consider to be official orthodoxy. Close their minds. Isn't it difficult these days talking to people about our faith? They don't even want to talk about it. They have closed minds from the very beginning. He said, education should aim at destroying free will, so that after pupils have left school, they shall be incapable throughout the rest of their lives of thinking or acting otherwise than as their schoolmasters would have wished. Frightening stuff, isn't it, folks? Look at this guy. First Director General of the World Health Organization of the UN. That's a big position. That's carrying a lot of weight. As I read this, imagine if this man came up on the stage here and said what he's just about to say here. You would think the man's crazy. But this man is lifted up to be the first Director General of the World Health Organization. He says, what basic psychological distortion or perversion can be found in every civilization of which we know anything? What do you think that is? The answer, he stated, morality, the concept of right and wrong. The reinterpretation of and the eventual eradication of the conception of right and wrong are the belated objectives of nearly all psychotherapy. He continued, he said, and this is a speech he gave here in California at a conference on education in 1954. To achieve world government, it is necessary to remove from the minds of men their individualism. Loyalty to family tradition, national patriotism, and religious dogmas have all got to go. Chester Pierce, professor of education and psychology at Harvard, and an address he gave in 1973 to the Childhood International Education Seminar. Every child who enters the school at age 5 is mentally ill because he enters school with an allegiance toward our elected officials, our founding fathers, our institutions, the preservation of this form of government that we have, patriotism, nationalism, sovereignty. All this proves that the children are sick because a truly well individual is one who has rejected all these things and is what I would call the international child of the future. They have an agenda and they do want to make a one world government. And they want to get everybody thinking the same. It's being heavily enacted in this nation. This fellow was an influential American journalist in 1945. He wrote, "The aim of public education is not to spread enlightenment at all. It is simply to reduce as many individuals as possible to the same level, to breed a standard citizen so that we can put down dissent. Executive Secretary of the National Education Association said the major function of the school is the social orientation of the individual. It must seek to give him understanding of his transition to a new social order.